What does Fishma, Beethoven, promise rings, and buckle massages have in common? What else? Another episode of Bling Empire. Hey everyone, this is D, Movieman, fellow cinephile, popcorn addict, and emerging film critic, coming to you with reliable recaps, reviews, and reactions. And today I'm coming to you all with another episode of Bling Empire, Season 1, Episode 3, What's in Anna's Shower? So we open up this episode with Kane, Kevin, and Jesse at an Asian market. We see a lot of unique items and ingredients there, like deer feet and sea cucumbers, and a lot of things you wouldn't find at your average grocery store. They're also looking at some other items in the shop, and they see some fish maw that cost $15,000. Kevin is like, that's yen, right? They're like, no, that's 15,000 US dollars. Kane's like, I'll take two. And then we see Kevin telling the cashier, just so you know, he is paying for that, like I'm not. We then see Kim, and she is hanging out with Anna at her house. Anna talks about how much trust is important to her, and she once had an assistant that stole $5 million worth of jewelry from her. Now, given her net worth, that really was probably just a drop in the bucket, but still a violation, that's still her property, and it's still a really messed up situation. So in the wake of that, Anna just appreciates friends that have moral principles, integrity, and respect, and I absolutely agree. So she's hoping that as she gets to know Kim, she might turn out to be just that kind of friend. So they're sitting near the piano, and Kim asks Anna if she plays, and she's like, oh, sometimes. She's like, oh, well, go ahead and play something. And so Anna's like, okay. So she sits down to the piano, and out of nowhere we hear no 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 no, and she's just like free flowing across the keys. It's like so effortless. And of course she's playing the classic song For Elisa by Beethoven. And she stops. She's like, no big deal. Slight work. I was like, I see you, Anna. Anna also tells Kim about the time a pet monkey of hers died. And there was another time where she and her friend came downstairs and they looked into the fountain and all the fish were dead. And she really didn't understand that. She didn't know if it had something to do with bad luck or something else. Well, Kim has another theory. This house just might be haunted. And Kim, she doesn't do ghosts. She talked about how she was in the shower one time, and when she stepped out, in the mirror, there was a message written in the condensation. And I was thinking, has someone been watching What Lies Beneath? What Lies Beneath with Michelle Pfeiffer and Harrison Ford. I mean, it's possible, but I was like, that sounds very, very familiar. Kim feels like she has a lot in common with Anna. She loves her youthful energy, she's down to have a good time, and she's a straight shooter. So it looks like they might have a bright future together as friends. We then jump over to Cherie and Jesse, and of course Cherie is still very dissatisfied about their current family situation. They have one child and another on the way, and they are still not married, and that poses a problem. So Cherie comes right out and asks Jesse, are you going to propose this year? And I was just kind of like, I don't know if that's the most ideal question to ask someone. And it's a really uncomfortable question because what are they supposed to say? If they say yes, then you're already aware that they're going to propose. And if they say no, then that's the end of the relationship. So yeah, I'm not really sure what she's expecting with that question. But Jesse's just kind of like, he doesn't really know what to say either. However, he does say that a proposal is on the way, but that there's no hurry. And I would really love to know the circumstances of their relationship and what it was like when they got together, because the problem is that Cherie at the beginning should have just set the precedent, should have set the boundary and said, hey, if we're going to have children, I want to be married. If we're going to have a family, I want there to be some kind of commitment in the form of marriage. And I think the problem is now that they've had children, it's kind of like you're now trying to set that standard, but it should have been there from the beginning. So this is going to be a very complicated situation. We see Kelly and Andrew, my favorite couple, of course. They're driving through Malibu, and we get these really beautiful shots of the coastline and the water and all these beautiful beachfront properties. I was totally loving that. He's rented out this old school trailer, and they are sitting out on the cliffside watching the sunset. Very, very romantic. And while they're there, they talk about their relationship, about the storms they've weathered, and where they hope to go in the future. Kelly mentions that the Paris situation was not ideal, but that in time she hopes that all of her other friends will get to know what an amazing person Andrew is, because for now, they're only seeing the bad side of him. And what was it Dr. Maya Angelou said? If someone shows you who they... Okay. We jump back over to Cherie and Jesse, and it is time for the baby to come. The contractions have started, and it's time to get to the hospital. They're walking to the car, and Jesse suddenly realizes he's forgotten to put on his shoes. So he runs back in, and then he runs back out, and he's like, do these match? She's like, who cares? I'm in pain. And he's like, yeah, but I don't think they match. So anyway, they jump in the car and they eventually make it to the hospital. Labor is a little bit of a struggle at first because Cherie is not really pushing the way she needs to. And the doctor was not here for her. He was like, look, you're trying to do the whole cute and elegant thing. And that's not what this is. You need to, you need to like push. But everything does work out. And she eventually gives birth to a healthy baby boy named Javon. We see King headed to a restaurant named Formosa, and he's throwing a party to celebrate his home and his roots in Singapore. I noticed that he had on this really nice, long red jacket that came all the way down. I was like, I would totally rock that. And what's great about the timing of the party is that it symbolizes the independence that Singapore gained historically. So we see everyone arriving. Jamie, of course, is dressed to the nines in her sequins, and Kane is like, okay, you might have to leave. You can't be outshining me. We also see Christine, and Kevin is asking her if she notices anything different about him. She's like, did you shave your chest? He's like, no, what I'm wearing, Dior. She's like, that's Dior? And then Jamie is telling him, I don't like that shirt. Like, I'm serious. So poor Kevin, he's trying, but he's not quite there yet. Christine sees that Cherie has given birth and she announces it to everyone. They're looking at the pictures and everyone is really happy and excited for Cherie and Jesse. They even leave a voicemail singing happy baby to you. So Kevin is telling Anna about some of the people who are there at the party who she's not familiar with. He asks her if she knows Andrew. She's like, how could I not know Andrew? She's really surprised to see Andrew and Kelly at the party together because she hoped that after the whole Paris situation that Kelly might have the strength and the foresight to remove herself and step away from that, but it appears not so. We see Kelly talking to Anna and telling her how she and Andrew are going to therapy together and they are working things out. But then she also mentions how he blows up over the smallest thing. So I'm kind of like, number one, are you guys working things out or not? I realize therapy isn't an overnight process, but I'm like, is anything changing as a result of therapy? And then as a friend, you can't tell me that you guys are working things out, but then also tell me that he's blowing up over small things. How am I supposed to feel about that? So yeah, still a very contentious situation between those two. So then Anna, Kelly, and Christine all sit down, and Kelly is just informing them about some of the things that have gone on with her and Andrew. We also see Andrew looking at them over from the bar, and I'm pretty sure he knows what they're talking about. And he's not happy about it because he feels like privacy is important in a relationship. And although I'm not a fan of Andrew, I do have to agree with that because I just feel like it doesn't help if you are sharing all these negative details about your relationship. And this is someone that your friends have to be around. And obviously it's going to paint then a negative impression of this person. But then they're thinking, okay, well maybe you're at a point where you're going to leave, but then you don't leave. You go back to him, you guys work things out, and now everyone has to kind of pretend like, oh, okay, hey, it's good to see you. But deep down, we know that you guys have had all these issues and he's not the best person. So yeah, I'm like, Kelly, I'm gonna need you to figure it out. We later see Anna and she is hosting a spa day at her home. There's food, there's massages, there's just all this space to just relax and hang out. And that is something I am so here for. Wouldn't mind doing that right now. Kevin, Kane, Kim, and her friend Guy are there. And the masseuse tells Kevin to just lay back and relax because the massages are about to get very intense. It's gonna go from the inside to the outside. And I was like, what exactly does that mean? Then we see her doing this very interesting finger massage inside the mouth. So apparently mouth massages or buccal massages are all the rage now. And at first I thought it was kind of odd looking, but then when I thought about it, I was like, oh, you know, that kind of makes sense. We are constantly using our mouth and those are muscles that don't really get a chance to relax. So I can see how that would work. However, just the visual of someone like pushing fingers in and out of my mouth, I would have to like, I would have to just kind of get my mind right because it would be very uncomfortable at first. Well, surprise, surprise, Kim has brought her Bible because she wants to help Anna do a spiritual cleanse on her house. This whole haunted house, potential spirits and ghost situation is not sitting well with her, which is kind of random, but I just figure, okay, if that's what she wants to do, then fine. But then we see Guy and Kim inside her house, so I was just thinking, oh, she's just gonna like walk in and just walk around and do the cleanse. But then we see Kim and her friend Guy walking up Anna's stairs. And I'm like, what's going on here? And Kim's like, oh, you know, it's not a big deal. And Guy's like, I think we're like being rude. I think we're like investigating her house. And he says this as he continues to walk up the stairs with Kim. I was like, are you guys really like going up into this woman's like personal space? Oh, no. No. Guy just wants to see what shampoo is in Anna's shower because her hair always looks a mess and maybe that's her issue. And I'm like, this woman really invited you all out to her house for a spa day so y'all can hang out and relax. And this is how y'all repay her? Wow. So they walk through her bedroom and now in her bathroom, and they are laughing and they are hooping and hollering about the fact that there's this sex toy in her bathroom. Which, yes, is a little weird, but it's her bathroom, so whatever's in there is her business. And they are making all this noise and they are so loud, and it just so happens that the bathroom window is open. So Kane and Kevin are sitting and they're kind of like, I hear something. Guy and Kim, of course, drop down and they're laughing. And I feel like in any other circumstance, in any other situation, this might have actually been funny, but you are literally invading this woman's privacy, invading her space, touching things that don't belong to you, and it's all like a big joke to you. I was just like, is this how grown people act? So then Guy picks up the sex toy and Kim is like egging him on to like, throw it out the window, throw it out the window, throw it out the window. And finally, he throws it out the window and they are just yucking it up and I'm just like, I can't believe that this is really happening. So now this sex toy is on the lawn where everyone can see. And you see Kane walk over and he's just kind of like, he's looking like, is that what I think it is? So then once Anna catches wind of what's going on, she's like, oh, wait a minute. This ain't just a screw you situation. This is a you situation. So Kim and Guy come down and Anna immediately is like, look, I don't know what's going on here. I don't know how you were able to find access into my home and find a sex toy and all that, but it's extremely rude to go into someone's house without their permission. And Kim was trying to brush it off like, no, 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 no. It wasn't me. He did it. He did it. And I was like, I believe you were the one literally leading the charge. You were the one leading him up the stairs. You were egging him on to throw it to like the whole thing. You were right there like sniggling and giggling and you thought the whole thing was hilarious. And now that you're catching heat for it, you're trying to like backtrack and be like, oh, no, no, no. I'm gonna need you to keep that same energy. And Anna's like, okay, don't blame him because you were right there in the mix. Kevin's like, well, I am pretty sure that Anna is going to think twice before inviting any more people over to her house anytime soon. And yeah, I cannot disagree with that at all. Kane is trying to get Kim to apologize, but it's like, but I wasn't the one. But it's not me. I mean, just like zero accountability. So Kane is like, you know what? Bump her. I apologize on behalf of her. I am sorry that this happened. And that's when Kim gets really upset and just storms out of Anna's house. And I'm just like, how are you more mad than the person that you disrespected? So Anna is realizing she has made a big mistake in judgment as far as Kim. She's very rude. She's very inconsiderate. And worse, she can't just own up to the things that she's done. So it looks like Anna and Kim already, it's a wrap on that. We then see Cherie having a newborn shoot for Javon, and she never had the chance to do one for Jador when she was born, so she is definitely taking the opportunity now. I was loving all the props and the costumes, and the pictures came out really, really nice. And I was thinking, man, he is small, but I don't see newborns that regularly, so I forget that, yeah, they're extremely small when they're born. And I mean, he literally looked like two baseballs sitting one on top of the other in that picture. Christine is also there, and she is just sitting in and supporting Cherie. And she asks her about the ring on her finger. She's like, is that an engagement ring? And Cherie is like, no, this is an old ring. Jesse's given me this before. It's a promise ring. Mind you, this promise ring has like diamonds all over it. As we heard before, Christine comments on Jesse and Cherie's situation and how it is something that is really frowned upon in the Asian community. And Christine is not a stranger to a lot of the criticism and pressure that can occur in their culture because she has experienced a whole lot of it. We then jump over to a MidAutumn Festival at a restaurant and everyone is in attendance and they are watching this woman do a ribbon dance. We then see Kelly's mom, and Kane asks her in Mandarin to explain what the festival is all about. And she says that the Moon Festival is basically similar to Thanksgiving. It's a time to celebrate the harvest, it's a time of togetherness and friends and family and just unity. Afterwards, we see Kevin trying to talk to Kelly's mom, and it's very clear that he's trying to get in good with her so he can score points with Kelly. I mean, you know, I'll just start with the mom, and maybe this will start looking a whole lot better. However, the mother also likes Andrew, so good luck with that. So later we see everyone sitting down and Kane is wondering where Anna is. He's like, you know, did no one invite Anna? And Guy says he probably doesn't want to be around anymore after that whole shower debacle. And Christine, of course, is like, what? Shower? What's going on? So Guy runs the story back and Kevin is like, look, that was on the two of y'all and you really need to apologize to her. And Kim comes out of nowhere talking about, you know, oh, I get it. You're backing up your sugar mama. I would do the same thing. Like, oh, Kim. And Kevin does not appreciate that. He's like, that's some bull. Don't even go there with me on that. She's very kind and very giving, and I'm not going to let you just outright disrespect her like that. You are wrong. You need to apologize. Kim is still going on and on. Why does it matter? Why are you offended? He's like, because it was offensive. I mean, who raised you? Wolves? And then Kim decides to throw a drink in Kevin's face. And once again, I'm like, why are you more mad than the person you disrespected? Yeah, I think that Kim, some of her marbles, I think some of them have gotten a little loose and they fell out and hit the floor because all of this energy over a situation that wasn't that serious and that you could have easily just apologized for, why? And Kane's like, okay, we need to break this up. Let's separate. Like, we need some space. And of course, Christine is the first one to jump up and say, me and my couture are leaving. And as Kevin leaves out with Kane and Kelly, he's basically saying, someone needs to teach us some manners. Well, that is an understatement. And that closes out episode 3, What's in Anna's Shower. It's really interesting seeing the dynamics in the friend group now that we have a little mess going. It's interesting how that can shake things up a little bit. It's really going to be something seeing how this social dynamic is going to work when you have all of these central conflicts going on. Anna and Kevin have an issue with Kim, and Christine and Kim have an issue with Anna. And now Kim also has an issue with Kevin, so yeah, it's going to really be interesting seeing how all that plays out. So, once again, this is D, Movieman, signing off, and I'll see you at the movie.